if I need to. I'll make that a little bit darker there to match up with that. But it's not great, but I want to put a little bit more yellow in there, a little bit more raw sienna. Okay. Now I can feel myself going into sort of fiddling mode, and it's everything I always say to people: don't fiddle, don't. It's very easy to do. So I'm going to go for a bigger brush and try and sort of start loosening things up again. I know that's in shadow along there, up on this side, and bring that right up to the wall. You sometimes feel yourself, you say we're going to paint loosely today, you start off quite loose and you end up tightening up because you're trying to be too careful. You know, you're trying to not take the risks, but it's the risks that you take with painting freely that actually really deliver your best work. I've painted my best paintings when I've been completely relaxed and I've just thought, oh well, to hell with it, just paint, just go for it. And 9 times out of 10, if you do that, you produce your best work. You know, it shows when you're feeling tense and when you're not able to relax with it. You know, it will show in your work. I know it shows in mine. So that I've got a little track that's coming down here where people walk out to the mount to view it. So I want to get that in. A couple of little blue boats. I just want to suggest a bit of that on there because you can see a bit of colour, and it's nice to have a little bit of, when it's very much a sort of subdued grey painting, it's nice to have a little bit of colour as boats and stuff. That's it. It just takes your eye over there to it. Right. Now I'm just starting to suggest where the rocks are, but there we go. I'm just using my brush quite quickly here, just to, because I want to get a broken brush stroke, and ideally keep it as lively as possible by breaking that up. If you start painting solidly, you're going to lose the freshness in your painting. If you start laying it down and being too careful. Okay, I'm just going to paint some water in here a little bit, but I'm not going to paint it in by filling the little white space. I'm just going to sweep the brush over and hopefully get some broken brush stroke just to add a little bit of sparkle, just like that. So when that dries, it will look more natural than if I tried to fill that little space in with solid colour. I want to just do the same. Just move this to allow me to get the full sweep. I'm just going to move that out like that. And I just want to do it over here. Just starting lightly and then just pulling across the page. It just gives the water a little bit of movement, and again off the edge of the key. Now we want to start on this little road here. That needs to be warmed up with some colour, and it's kind of like a raw sienna sort of colour. So I want to start it quite pale at the bottom. Oh, just keep that splattering the painting. That doesn't matter. Start it quite pale here, but again I want to have a sweep of colour. I don't want to be, and then just try and keep it quite natural. And we'll just let that dry. Now there's lots of textures going on down the foreground here. Now I want to build some textures up and across this side. Lots of rocks and everything. But again I want to make it look natural. I don't want to be painting everything in too solid. So we'll be doing some splattering and some sweeping with a brush. So if I mix my colours up first, I'm basically going for some nice earthy tones, some umbers, some siennas, some purples, and a mixture of, well, I'm going to carry on with the ultramarine theme just to keep it looking harmonised. Right, so again I want some nice broken brush strokes here. And again I'm not going to try and paint every little rock. I'm just trying to use the dry brush technique, which that will suggest the rocks in the painting. And the splatter will, in a minute when I use the splattering, that will just have a little bit of, just while that road's wet I can just come, there's a little edge going on there. I want to take some more of this dry brush down this side, and the dry brush, the tooth of the paper is just making it look like there's little rocks there. I'm not having to paint the rocks in. You know, if I tried to do that by hand it would take me ages. So I'm just using the brush to skip across the paper, and it's just where it picks up on the tooth that's what gives us the impression of rocks. Right, now I'm just to sort of like balance it completely. I'm now going to sort of put a few little dabs of paint just where I see there are bigger rocks. Have a balance of those. I'm not going to put too many. You know, just soften them in places just so they look as if they're part of the landscape. So once you dabbed your little rock down, just go back and soften one of the edges and it will make it look more a part of the painting. Now, I'm not going to do an awful lot. I've got some people to put in a bit, but I'm not going to do an awful lot more. All I'm going to do now is splatter some paint down, because when you splatter paint it just falls so randomly. You couldn't put it like that if you tried, but because you splatter it and you've got no control over it, it falls completely random. So just going to put some nice splattering down. Well, watch I don't get that in the sky. often a good idea to put a piece of paper across your sky when you're doing this. And then don't just use all one colour. Now I'm going to use some more lighter browns. Tempted to put a bit of paper across the sky because I'm going up, because you do not want a big splatter mark in your sky really. There we go. I'm not going to do an awful lot more than that. Okay, we're just putting a few figures in now, just a very small impression of a few figures walking across the beach. Just to give it, because there's people always walking out to low water to St Michael's Mount, and they're just kind of silhouetted there to give it a little bit of they can have a little bit of reflection because the sand's wet. But there we go. So I'm not going to do an awful lot more to this painting, to be honest. I could just put some windows in some of the cottages back here, but just to show some windows back there. There's some shadows. But I want to keep the painting as simple as possible. I don't. Just while I'm finishing, don't forget, if anybody's interested, they can pop along to my website and they can sign up for my watercolour painting course. Well, it's not a course; it's just like an ongoing library of paintings I add. They're not the ones that are not shown on YouTube, so you have to be a member to view them at my website. There's no cost involved in that; it's completely free. But if you want to come along to the website and check it out and get involved in that, there's a forum there for members. You can paint your pictures from the videos and then put them up online, and myself or somebody else will give you some advice if you're struggling and you're new. Just ask, people will help out. There's also my Facebook page, and there's links for both things just below the video, so you can have a look at that and join up if you want to. It'd be great to have you. Okay then, thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you got this far anyway, and please come back for more soon. Bye for now.